Have you ever wondered what was the first conscious manifestation experience of Neville Goddard? Have you ever heard about the first success story about Neville Goddard's manifestation? Now, he is considered to be one of the most powerful teachers of manifestation. But how did he react when he was manifesting something? What scenarios did he face? Was his reality the opposite too? Was he also doubtful, like you? Did he think that he couldn't have what he desired? Well, we will find this out in the Barbados story of Neville Goddard. It was the year 1933, almost 100 years ago. Neville Goddard was living in the United States, and he wished to return to his native country, Barbados. But the obstacle was that he didn't have money. Also, it was a time of major depression in the country. Millions of people in the United States were unemployed, living in tunnels and parks, and waiting in long lines to get coffee and bread. Neville Goddard was not someone who had business or was doing some white-collar job. He was a dancer, and during times of Great Depression, people were struggling to make ends meet. During such a time, who would pay money to watch a dancer? That's why there were barely any shows happening. Neville didn't have any job. He didn't have any savings. He was living in the basement of a building. And there was a person named Abdullah who lived across the street. It was the month of October, and Neville was having a conversation with Abdullah where he told him that he came to the United States when he was 22, and now it is going to be 12 years living here. He hasn't visited his home even once in the past 12 years. In those past years, he didn't have any desire to go back, but now he has a very intense desire to go to Barbados. The only obstacle that Neville is facing is a lack of money. He didn't have money to buy even a ticket. After hearing this, Abdullah said, "You are in Barbados." Neville got shocked and confirmed, "I am in Barbados." Abdullah said, "Yes, you are now in Barbados, and therefore you see Barbados and you see the United States from Barbados. You can smell the tropical land of Barbados. You can see the little home in Barbados, and that's all you do. You just simply sleep this night in Barbados." Now, just like a common man who never heard anything about manifestation and the law of assumption, Neville thought that Abdullah was an insane person. He felt just like you when someone told you that they manifested their specific person and money by imagining. Neville was like, "I am sitting with Abdullah in this multi-story building. All that my eyes can see are 50 to 60-story buildings. I am surrounded by all these huge buildings, and this man here is saying that I am in Barbados, where the tallest building that you can find is just a 3-story building. How high can Abdullah be that he is saying this to me?" But Neville thought he has nothing to lose, so he gave it a try. That night, Neville assumed that he was sleeping in his mother's home in Barbados, and that he was seeing America from there. He slept as though he were sleeping in a bed in Barbados. The next day, he woke up and did all that he used to do. He didn't tell Abdullah anything. But, as the week passed and nothing happened, just like you, he reached out to Abdullah. It was now November, and he said, "Abdullah, nothing has happened. I imagined, but there is no movement." Abdullah hadn't even answered Neville. This went on for a few days. Neville tried to discuss it with Abdullah, but Abdullah would never discuss it. Well, how could he discuss this with Neville when he is already in Barbados? How could Abdullah tell Neville about him going to Barbados when he is already in Barbados? That's a stupid thing. Well, days passed, and it was now the 4th of December, and it was the last ship that would sail to Barbados on the 6th of December. Neville still had no money to buy the ticket. But when he got out of bed, he saw a letter under his door. That letter was from his brother, Victor Goddard. In this letter, Victor asked Neville to come to Barbados for Christmas. It has been many years since all of his brothers and sisters were together for Thanksgiving. Now all of his siblings are going to meet at his mother's house for Christmas celebrations, and he asked Neville to join. With the letter, he even enclosed a draft of $50 so that he could buy the clothes that he wanted, and his brother even instructed the ship company for the ticket. After reading this, Neville got very excited, and he rushed to the ship company for his ticket. He showed them this letter, and the company told him that they knew about it, but there was one problem. They don't have the first-class ticket, and they would only be able to provide the third-class ticket, but he can access the facilities of the first class. He would only sleep in the third-class cabin until he reached the island of St. Thomas. A person would leave the ship there, and then he could sleep in the first-class bunk. Neville didn't hesitate and told him that he would take it. With great excitement, he knocked on Abdullah's door, and he said, "I got my ticket, but they are third class." He said he was so happy that he was going to Barbados. But Abdullah, being Abdullah, told him, "Who told you that you were going to Barbados? Also, who told you that you were going third class? You went to Barbados, and you went first class." Neville was like, "This man is never happy with my achievements. He isn't happy that I am going to Barbados." The next day, Neville went to the ship with the third-class ticket. The ticket checker told him that there is good news for Neville, as someone at the last moment canceled the first-class ticket, and now he is going first class. Neville went to Barbados and went there first class. Abdullah taught Neville about manifestation. He told Neville, "You are in Barbados." Although Neville was physically present in New York City, in his imagination, he was in Barbados, and imagination is the tool of creation. Imagination will take you to places you never went physically. It took almost 2 months for Neville, after performing his imaginary act, to reach Barbados. During those days, Neville was clueless too about how he would be going to Barbados. Abdullah wouldn't discuss anything about Barbados with him. There was no hope or encouragement for Neville. Abdullah was a great teacher. He taught Neville a very important lesson that day. As soon as you have imagined that you are what you wanted to be, you are now pregnant with the idea. And this will give birth to a journey of becoming who you want to be. For Neville, assuming that he is in Barbados led him to a series of events that his physical senses were not even aware of until he got the ticket. Like a faithful mother, he bore that child and didn't discuss it with anyone. Now, my lovely audience, what do you desire? Become clear about it. Do you want to go somewhere for vacation? Do you want to be with someone specific? Do you want a certain amount of money? Do you want a lovely car? What is it that you want? Just become clear about it. Now, live as if you have it. You are creating your own reality regardless of the circumstances. You do this by changing your thoughts and feelings. And this results in changing your circumstances. It is essential for you to assume the state of the wish fulfilled. You have to feel as if it has already happened. Never worry about how it is going to take place. Every desire manifests in a way that our physical senses are not aware of. So, go within. Instead of commenting that you can't have it or that the situations are not in your favor or for X, Y, or Z reasons, just go within and imagine as if you already have it. Visualize, hear, and affirm, and it will happen soon. Your affirmations should be based on the fact that it has happened. Don't use affirmations that imply that it is going to happen. Neville didn't assume that he was going to Barbados. In his imagination, he was already in Barbados. He would imagine walking and smelling seafood. He would imagine hugging his mother. He would imagine sitting in his mother's house. Consciousness is the one and only reality, not figuratively but actually. For clarity, this reality may be likened to a stream that is divided into 2 parts, the conscious and the subconscious. In order to intelligently operate the law of consciousness, it is necessary to understand the relationship between the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious is personal and selective. The subconscious is impersonal and non-selective. The conscious is the realm of effect. The subconscious is the realm of cause. These 2 aspects are the male and female divisions of consciousness. The conscious is male, and the subconscious is female. The conscious generates ideas and impresses these ideas on the subconscious. The subconscious receives ideas and gives form and expression to them. By this law, first conceiving an idea and then impressing the idea conceived on the subconscious, all things evolve out of consciousness. So, always be mindful of what you are imagining, as it may show up if you start feeling it. With this, I hope you liked today's video. If you are manifesting a specific person, then I have good news for you. I have made a video that includes a guided meditation to manifest a call from a specific person. You can check it out at the end of this video by clicking on the first video on the end screen.